20 years ago, no, maybe a bit more now, I started my own football team up with some young lads that were playing football at the street, nowhere to play. So I decided I'd start my own football team, and basically that's how I got into it. This is only my third year back from a 20-year break. I stopped doing it to do other things, and I'm third year back into it now, and I'm enjoying it still. Why do I do it? Passion. One word, passion. I'm very passionate about football, very passionate. For a right back, not a very good right back, but I thought I could play a really good game, and making sure that other kids can play football is why I'm passionate about football, because it's a sport for everybody. It's not just a sport for people that can play football, it's a sport for everybody that wants to play football. It's obviously better if you can play football. You've got to try and pick your best team for week. I've got a lot of lads, I'm lucky to have a lot of lads. It didn't show tonight, but my lads are all of a different level. There's not, I've not got a full squad all of the same ability. Because I'm a reserve manager, I've got young lads coming through, young lads that have been here a while and have started to show that they're getting there, and old heads that are quite good. So it's trying to mix that up, if you like. Again, it depends on, like, as first team, if they're short and they take players, they normally take your better players, of course. So you've got to be able to sort of like say, right, well, that player will fit in there if he goes, and So picking teams always it's a gamble at reserve level, but it's also, I've got to pick like a full team and then 5 subs that will fit in any sort of. So yeah, it's hard work, but enjoyable. What motivates me as a manager to stay as a manager? Progression. One word. Start with a team that can't play football and get them playing half decently within half a season. Young guys, 17, 18-year-old, next season are going to be a lot better than what they were this season. So that gives me incentive to stay for next season. Seeing the guys that are already in the team progressing is that's my main job, and I like it, so why wouldn't I stay? When I go across that whitewash, I want to sit down and drink coffee. I want to hide in a corner, I don't know, it's hard to put into words exactly how you feel. Again, anxious, nervous, exhilarated, because you've managed to get them there and crossing the line. Like this weekend we've got a cup game. It's not going to be the easiest game we've ever played, because we've never had an easy cup game this season. But once they get over that line, it's up to them. And I can't do anything else except push. And I tend to do that, too vocally sometimes. Basically, we're keeping contact with each other. I've set up a forum where we're all talking all the time. So there's not only banter on there, there's stuff like I'd like to tell them about what I want to achieve this week, or what we achieved it last game. So that gets put in there. Communication is a big thing, so we're always talking to each other. You might not have all the team on at once, but you might be talking to 2 or 3, who'll then go on to another 2 or 3, and it comes back to you eventually. It's like a full circle of conversation. Basically, I do a lot of talking, they do a lot of listening, and then tell me when I finish. If you go out saying, oh no, we're really confident, yeah, you're telling your players you're really confident, but inside your stomach's churning. You get a bit anxious. I think you do get a little bit nervous before the game. I think that's probably when it starts. Nerves, I don't think it's the right word for it. I think, I don't know, possibly, yeah. Answer to that is probably. Even when we're winning, when we scored 2 or 3 goals like we did last week, and other team starts to get on top, for every team gets 10 minutes in a game, even if you're miles better than them. Them 10 minutes are heartbreaking sometimes. Sometimes they're exhilarating. Most of the time you've got no nails left. That's a good one, is that? That's really, how do you motivate a team when they're losing? There's no point in screaming and shouting and calling them names. As a manager, you feel like doing it sometimes, because there might be somebody that's sort of like not having the best game, but to shout and bawl at them would be the wrong thing. You need that player to step up. So you just try your hardest to motivate them, tell them to get on with it, tell them to come on, they're better than that or whatever. you learn to read players as well. You know, you've got different players that can. Some might take a bit of an hiding, some won't. If you give a player a verbal, that might just make him worse. You know, if he might need a pat on back. You know, but there's some guys that you give them a bollocking, for want of a better word, and they play better. You know, so you've just got to be able to read your players. I think. You know, once you get to know them, it's easier. When you don't know them so well, you know, it's hard sometimes to lift them. But basically, push. Just at the minute at Yorkshire Amateur, it's everything. I do everything for this team. You've just seen there. I carry balls about. I make sure that, you know, the paperwork's done, match days. I clean changing rooms afterwards. I make sure kit's washed. Seriously, we've got to do everything. It's got to be you know, you've got to be committed to do everything. For a community-based football team such as ours, everybody volunteers to do the same thing. So there's not just me doing it, there's other managers doing it. You know, coming away with 3 points, I think that sums everything up about a manager. Not always winning the 3 points, but playing well. I think if I were to make it a top 3, I'd probably put playing well as my top, you know, my number 1. Guys, footballers want to win. You know, every Sunday they want to win, or every Saturday, you know, depending on where you play. We're lucky to play on a Saturday in a decent-ish league. Not one of the best leagues, but a decent-ish league. And playing well against some of them teams with my young lads is probably my priority. It's not always winning games. The lads want to win. I just want to play well. I want to play football how I see it being played. I'm not a kick it up in air and hope you get it manager. I'm a guy that likes to see players play football up floor. I think that once, you know, all the training, all the badges, tactically, Premiership managers you're on about, Summit Conference managers, you know, not all of them, Blue Square, quite a few of them. I think there's a lot of nouns, a lot of tactical knowledge there that's above a local manager. You tend to look at what you're doing and try and work problems out a little bit more than get your foot on it, get your head on it. But then as you go further up the ladder, you've got to be on the ball. Just reading books and putting it on paper and putting it through training sessions, it's got to be a little bit more intense. At another level, you've got more time with your players. They become a part of what you're doing. Whereas at my level, on a Saturday, I've got them for 90 minutes for sure. They're all there listening to me and doing what I'm asking them to do. Through the week, have I got them all? I haven't. It'd be great to say that, you know, I could turn up here and have my 20 players here every week all willing to play and train. It doesn't happen. And that's the hard part of the job for a manager at this level. But it's also what keeps some managers going, like myself, you know. Talk to them until you blue it face, they won't do it. Sometimes you get 1 or 2 players that go further. And that's a bonus, isn't it?